Hey everybody, I'm out in the workshop today and I have had the best morning. It is glorious today, just so beautiful. This video is a little bit of a tutorial, a little bit of just having fun, and a little bit of a nature vlog. Let's get this out of here. This is a really old Victorian bird bath that I bought when I had my retail store. I had several friends who sold antiques, and she had this in her shop. So with it being birds, I had to buy it. The ajuga is coming out. I love it. I wish the deer wouldn't eat everything, but I have to share with them. That's just the way it is. And my bleeding heart is in bloom. I love this. I love this so much. The deer don't seem to bother this too much. So I need to get busy and plant quite a few of these. And there's more ajuga. Oh, I just love this time of year. There is a bird bath that I made about 8 years ago. It's got some wear on it, but it's still pretty. And then here are the May apples. And you know what? This is the first time I have seen a bloom like this on one of them. Oh my goodness, that is so gorgeous. They come out every year and they have these beautiful little umbrella shapes, but they don't always have spectacularly visible blooms like that. They're just gorgeous. Let's get this weed out of here. Hey everybody, this is Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I'm out in the workshop this morning and I wanted to show you something that I started last night. Oh, this was so much fun. So this is a piece of waxed paper, and this is a piece of muslin fabric that has had crayons melted onto it, and another piece of waxed paper. And Jason and I started talking. I told him how much I loved this, and we were talking about batik fabric. Now, I don't think I'm gonna try to dye these. The wax would repel any dye, but I love this white muslin color, or the cream color. Aren't these beautiful? I am going to do some more of these this morning, but I wanted to bring it out here because of the smell of the crayons. We used to melt them, and I don't think they're supposed to be non-toxic, but still I decided to bring it out here to work on. And I'm so excited to be out here this morning. It's absolutely beautiful out here today. I've got a big leftover piece of quilt, and actually I'm going to turn that over so that we don't mess up the front of that. And that is going to be like my little ironing board. And I'm going to stop and go get some more waxed paper. I didn't bring it out. Okay, so this is really a quick process once you get going. I'm going to put a big sheet of this on the bottom, I think. And that iron is getting pretty hot. And this piece I didn't completely finish last night. It was just sort of there to soak up extra from the other pieces. So let's move these out of the way, the ones that I've already done. I love this. That's going to be used in a journal for sure. This, I like this side. It's got this, there was a gold sparkly crayon, and you know I love gold, but I'm not really crazy about. To me, there it just looks like dirt or sand. Of course, that would be cool for a beach journal if you had just a lot of that. That gives me ideas. We've got some fabric here. Let me break up some crayons. put some yellow pieces on this. They're really bright. I'm going to have to buy some more crayons. I grabbed a handful when I left work the other night and purchased them, and I didn't really pay a lot of attention to the colors or the brands, which has ended up being pretty fun. I think maybe it couldn't have been any better had I spent a lot of time choosing, although I'm going to do that next time. I'll take more time picking the colors that I want. And I love that bright purple, the purple and the yellow. So let's put some yellow pieces on this fabric. And then I am going to put, there's a tiny little piece of the bright purple that didn't completely melt. So let's put this in here and another piece in here. So it is gorgeous outside today. I love days like this, and the fact that I'm off work. Sometimes we have beautiful days and I'm at work all day, which, don't get me wrong, I love my job. But it's my favorite thing I've ever done in my career. Pardon me while I make a lot of noise. So I'm going to put this on top, and then I'm going to put another piece of fabric simply because the iron is really hot and I don't want to burn this paper. I mean, I could see that happening. So I'm just going to melt the crayons underneath, and you can kind of hold it in one place for a little bit. You know, fabric and things like that will burn, so you just have to be careful, and you can move it around a little bit, but I found that it can wrinkle the fabric underneath. See how it's melting? Which, that's not necessarily a bad thing, to have it wrinkle the fabric. It's just so much fun. And it's going to be a lot better doing this out here instead of in the dining room. They actually have kind of a good smell. I think it's just when you've been doing it for a while and everything is super hot, you can smell everything. The fabric, the paper, the crayons, the iron, and it gets to be a little much. So, and please, if you try this, don't get burned. The fabric gets really hot. I ran my hand across a piece last night to see if everything was flat, and I did it way too quickly. The fabric was still hot from the iron. So don't do that. Give everything a chance to cool down. Don't let children be around this. I am not telling you that you should do this. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. There's always risk involved when you're working with something hot. Ooh. So you can see there are a couple of pieces in there that have not completely melted. There's a piece stuck here. So what I'm going to do is move this paper around a little bit to change up the spots where it's melting. And let me tell you, the finish, I love this. Isn't that pretty? And the finish is, once it dries, it's really hard. It's makes the fabric stiff, which is fun to work with. So I think I'm actually going to, I just kept layering paper and fabric last night. And you can see it soaks through. So there's on the back of the quilt piece, which that's okay with me. I just kept layering and layering, and the crayon is pretty oily, so it works its way through. Love hearing the birds outside. Put some more of this. And let's put some more colors on this piece of fabric. Maybe some orange. And this is blue. Just plain blue. What is this color? It's really making me wish I had more colors. This looks like a sort of an orange. What color is this? That looks like black. And here's that stamp again. Conforms to ASTMD 4236, I believe that says. So that stamp is put on there by the, it's something like arts and crafts materials something. I used to know exactly because I worked there, but I've mentioned before there's a team of toxicologists on site at Duke University, and they evaluate arts and crafts materials that are going to be used by the public and especially by children. Goes through all this testing to make sure that there's no there aren't any heavy metals or anything like that. No lead, nothing like that. Alright, so another piece of paper. I love having just plain white fabric around. These are some pillowcases, and what I had done was to take the embroidered edge off to use in some projects. Don't tear apart just everything. Sometimes old linens are just too beautiful to tear apart, but if there's a big stain, and you know, pillowcases, that's one of those things. I have a gorgeous set that my grandmother made for me, and those will never be torn apart by me. But let's see if this one's in good shape. Isn't that pretty? You know, I had to get that because I love the birds. I should just hang that up out here somewhere. Alright, so let's try these colors. I also want to try working on a piece of burlap with this and see what it does. It might melt a pattern to a page, actually, if it goes through. I don't know, we'll have to see what it does. We'll have to see. Ooh. So I want more color concentrated, and this is running a little bit. See, that's going to be really cool when we move that around. Again, be careful because the fabric gets really hot and these melted crayons will be hot. So I'm going to move that around so that I can get some color in the center. Let's put this back. I love being out here. A lot of the things out here came from my retail store. My Jason is so good to me. I didn't really want to give up the shop, and yet things in that shopping center just were not going well for any of the shop owners. And you know, things happen. It's just cities and towns change and properties change. So I decided to close, and he knew that I needed a space that I could just play in. So he was out here just instantly fixing this up for me, and I love it. Ooh, that's pretty. So there's this one so far. I might put some yellow in that to brighten it up. I love that it gets all over the wax paper too. Look at that. It seems like they just get prettier and prettier. So we'll just change things up a little bit. This crayon is a little dirty on the outside, so I'm going to go scrape some of this dirt off. And actually, I think I will do like we did in school at this point and just get some shavings. See how that does. Just put it all over, and we'll get it on top of these other colors, and it won't be so thick so much at one time. Love playing with things like this. That down, and my fabric back down so that we don't burn the iron up. Okay, so it totally changed the look of that. And see how some of it's getting dark? That looks kind of muddy. It gets prettier and prettier, I think, as it dries though, and some of that oil kind of settles down. I guess that's just red. It looked a little more pink at first. And this is bright pink. Let's put some bright pink in there. Interesting. Put that back. can put our fabric back. Oh wow, so that's getting super bright. Let's put that yellow right in the center and melt it on down. That's pretty. Okay, I may stop on this for a while because I've got some really pretty pieces. I love this. And of course there's paper as well. And a mess here. I won't be able to stand it if I leave these papers in with the actual crayons. The papers that I tore off, they've got to go in the trash again. Thanks, Mom. And I love this, Karen. Makes me happy. That's my little crayon tray. I am not sure what's going on with this bee. It was in the workshop. It looked like it was having a hard time moving. So we're taking it out to a plant. Maybe it will be okay. Looks a little more energetic, that's for sure. Maybe put it on the lavender. Ooh, there it goes. Look at that. It's coming back to the fabric. I want to hold it, but I don't want to make it afraid, and I don't want to get stung. Oh, I think it fell. Maybe it'll be okay. I brought the camera back in. I did try some bright crayon pieces on some trim, and I love the way it turned out. I'm definitely going to use this in my journal spread for today.